so I make that 11 o'clock. Welcome everybody and welcome to this morning's webinar, Understanding Your Renewal Options. So we're just going to quickly start with some webinar etiquette before we kick things off, and then we'll go into the intros with the guides that you can see on the screen. So you'll all be on mute. This is being recorded, so it will be on demand to be shared later. So if you're listening to this on demand, thank you. We will have some questions and answers at the end, but if you have a question on the top of your mind that you would like to get out, then if you hover over the bar at the bottom, there's a Q&A section there. So please pop your questions on those on that section, and we'll fill those later. If we can't answer any directly today, then we will we'll respond directly to you, and there'll be some live polls as well throughout the session. We will be sharing the slides after the event, and hopefully you'll find it really useful. So I'm going to pass over to Andrew to kick things off. If you turn yourself off mute, and we'll kick things off.
Thank you, Jenny, and welcome to everybody. Thanks for joining us today. The team that will be presenting to you today are made up of 4 employees from Zenergi. And first up would be myself. I am a regional relationship manager and team leader, and also a member of the Market Watch committee. We also have Alam Allah. He's a procurement manager, and again, a member of the Market Watch committee. And then we have Scott Finnegan, who is Market Insight and Flex Manager, and again, also a part of the Market Watch Committee. And then we have Daniel Roberts, who is a dual relationship manager and services a large number of customers. Thanks, Jen. If you want to go over to the next slide. So today I thought we would like to introduce a little video that we put together for you guys. It's the Zenergi indicative budget forecast video. And again, within this video, we're covering the Zen process. We are covering the current market high point that we are all experiencing across the country. It also takes you through the pricing process on the pricing day when we do your renewals. And again, just covering the renewal process from start to finish. And again, how the acceptance process works and the various options on the day in which we present to you. And most importantly, your availability on that day to accept the quotations in order to tackle the current market in order to achieve the best prices we can for you on your renewals. We're going to push play on the video now. I hope you enjoy, and we'll pick up afterwards.
With rising energy prices putting budgets under pressure, there has never been a more urgent time to take control of your energy. Even when the market is relatively stable, the endless supplier and product choice can make it challenging to navigate and understand the best options. But when the market is highly volatile, significant price changes can be experienced between the daily open and close of the market, and even within the space of a few minutes. With energy contracts substantially more expensive now than they have ever been, at any time since the market was deregulated in 1989, you need an energy partner you can trust to make those important procurement decisions just at the right time. Our renewal services aim to take the complexity out of managing your utilities, ensuring that energy never costs your organisation administrative time, while providing peace of mind that you're getting the best value. We are monitoring the market so we can look at what your percentage change will be and prepare for different options. We are confirming relevant notice periods with your suppliers to avoid additional charges. We are identifying suppliers at risk and applying due diligence around the suppliers we place contracts with, as well as obtaining confirmation on supplier products and terms and conditions. Our service teams will liaise with the suppliers to confirm you are free to transfer with no issues, allowing you to choose your best price option for your renewal. We will review different strategies and services for you, looking at the best options available for your renewal. Ahead of pricing day, the team will have collated your consumption data to provide a comparison, consolidated the data received from suppliers into a comparable, easy-to-read document, negotiate supplier margins and terms, analyse prices, comparing them against your requirements, reviewed terms and conditions and identified any risks, and provided a recommendation using their knowledge of the markets. It's a busy morning for the team on pricing day. Look out for our email with prices and aim to prioritise your response. On pricing day, we need your availability to discuss your requirements to ensure we can understand what you need when we ask suppliers for prices. We expect prices in the afternoon, which means you'll need to be available to sign off, or allow us the necessary authority to act on your behalf with our Zen sign. Zenergi's terms and conditions provide protection by preventing you from paying more than you should. We ask for your notice in writing, either a letter or email, at least 90 days before your renewal date. In that 90-day period, we are carrying out all the tasks required to ensure pricing day runs smoothly. Whether you're a Zen sign customer or not, we will always work in your best interests. When your contract goes live, you will receive a confirmation by email and a welcome pack providing everything you need to know about what will happen next. Our team will work with the suppliers to ensure a smooth transition of contracts. We will notify you of any objections that require your urgent attention, and confirmation that your contracts are live and a prompt for you to provide a meter read. We can help protect your budget with additional products and services from our in-house engineers that can reduce your consumption, along with legislation and regulation reviews to ensure you remain compliant. For independent, unbiased advice, for procurement to net zero and everything in between, Zenergi has the expertise to help you achieve your energy costs and sustainability goals.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that video there. So my name's Scott.
The world around us is changing at an incredible pace. Individuals and organisations can no longer ignore the big challenges facing our planet today. Combating climate change, eradicating poverty, enhancing health and well-being.
Okay, thank you for that. So yeah, where was I? So my name's Scott. I'm the Market Insight and Flex Procurement Manager here at Zenergi. We thought we'd kick things off with a poll just to gauge your understanding of energy prices. I know it's a hot topic in our industry right now. So in front of you are 3 options. If you would like to select one of them now. So option 1 is that power prices have gone up 100%, so too gas, so doubled in price. Option 2 is 200% rise in power prices and 250% on gas. And then finally, option 3 is a 250% rise in power and 350% rise in gas. This is an assumption of a 1-year contract taken last year from April 2021 to the 1st of April this year, 2022. So if you'd like to submit your answer.
We're just collating the final results. Apologies for the technical glitch there. That was my fault. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and share the results. Here you go.
Okay, thank you for voting. So you will probably not be pleased to hear that the correct answer is option 3 on this poll. So this hopefully just gives you a bit of context. When we say energy prices have risen and when you see it in the media, it has risen quite substantially, the wholesale costs. So the next couple slides I'm going to go through is just going to put this into better context for you. So the first graph you can see are gas wholesale prices. This is since 2013, so it's quite a long-term graph. You'll notice immediately on the right-hand side, from around mid-2021, just the substantial rise we've seen in the commodity. So traditionally, gas prices have always been around 30 to 85 pence per therm on the high side, but we've seen that completely change in dynamic since last year. You'll also notice some quite substantial spikes there in the pricing. I'll be going through that in the next couple slides just to show you what actually caused those spikes. And the next graph will also show the power prices as well, if we just move on to that one. So you can see it's almost identical in the way it's formatted. Reason being is gas and power prices are very strongly correlated. So normally they move in tangent with each other. Again, just like gas, power prices have historically always been in a range band of around 30 to 80 pounds per megawatts. But again, since mid-2021, we've seen a substantial rise in the commodity price. And right now we're at, we recently hit all-time highs back in March, and we've just kind of plateaued a bit down now. So I'm going to take you through the last 6 months and what's been happening in the markets. Okay, so just to explain this graph before I begin, this is trailing back from the 1st of October until present. You can see a number of driver indicators with arrows. The ones in orange are bullish drivers, bullish meaning it's causing an upward movement in price, and the ones in green are bearish drivers that have caused a decline in prices. I won't talk through all of them today, but they are here for you to look through. But I guess the key ones to go through are, firstly, that first notable spike you can see, which occurred late December, was a combination of Russian gas flows decreasing into Europe. Then we had the compounding issue of an outage, or major outage in France on nuclear reactors. At the time, it was feared to be a lot worse than what it actually was. And the combination of those two led forecasts to believe the EU would run out of gas storage by the end of winter. So that's never happened before, and it caused a lot of panic and fear in the markets. What quickly followed is much warmer weather forecasts. So if you remember the end of December, beginning of January, it was actually the warmest New Year's Day on record. So we saw some very unusual temperatures, extremely warm. That helped to ease fears, and the forecasts were redone to show that the fears were unfound. And also the outage in France's nuclear reactors wasn't as bad as first feared either. Then if we go through into January and into February, it was certainly volatile, but you can see it's kind of held that range there. During this time, there was obviously building tensions between Russia and Ukraine, which the market were noting. But we also saw some bearish factors as well. One of the more particular ones was the high wind generation through this period. So if you remember back in February, we had a number of storms. It felt like there was a storm every 3 or 4 days, but it did mean high wind generation, and that helped to ease the supply picture a bit. But then we see the second dramatic spike up, which was when Russia officially invaded Ukraine on the 24th of February, which you can see there with the cursor. The events to follow were probably one of the most volatile periods in the market we have ever seen. It wasn't so much the war itself, but the sanctions that followed, and the one that's most key, I guess, to our industry is the sanctioning and bankruptcy of Nord Stream 2. So that was seen as a key long-term solution to the energy crisis, and the fact that that was bankruptcy just essentially curtailed that. And then we saw other commodities rise in price as well. So we saw oil hit a 15-year high. We saw things like coal, carbon prices also start to surge in price. So that was kind of the peak that we've hit in the beginning of March. We have now dropped down a bit. We have seen a reluctance from the EU to sanction the Russian gas. So that has eased fears a bit, but yeah, it's still volatile in the market right now. And where we'll go from here could be either way, in all honesty, but that's kind of painting the picture of the last 6 months. As I say, I haven't gone through all of these drivers, but yeah, there's a number of key things that have occurred in the last 6 months that's led to this volatility. So I'll hand you over back to Andy now, who's going to go through some purchasing strategies you can explore.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for your insight. That was very helpful. I hope that helped all of you understand the contributing factors behind the price rises at the moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take you through your purchasing strategies in terms of the options that are available to you in a rising market. We're glad to let you know that as a company, we have developed quite a number of purchasing strategies, and they will range between what we call high and low risk options. I think what's really important to remember, there are 3 key factors that determine your budget, and that is obviously the current market price, when you previously purchased, and how you previously purchased. And I think it's important today that if you take anything away, that you understand there are options available to you. I'm going to take you through the first option, and then Alam is going to take you through what we call medium to low risk options. And again, this will give you some great insight to the options that you have. Flex contracts are alternative purchasing strategies to your traditional fixed price contracts. As opposed to a fixed price contract, flex contracts will depend on the future wholesale market movements and trades, therefore allowing us to take advantage of the wholesale market movements, and most importantly, to optimize on the wholesale fluctuations that you've seen from Scott's graph as they go up and they come down. And obviously in a flex contract, you are allowed to optimize on those troughs, and that is the benefit of being on flex. Because of this nature, though, flex contracts do carry much more budget uncertainty compared to a fixed price contract, and are considered to be what we would class as a high to medium risk purchasing strategy. I think what's also important to remember is that flex products benefit the most when you enter long-term contracts, therefore allowing more openings and time to trade based on the continual fluctuations that are seen throughout the contract term. Bespoke flex contracts do have one caveat to that, and that is when you go on a bespoke flex contract, there is a qualifying annual quantity, and this ranges anywhere between 5 gig, and for those of you that don't know the terminology, that is 5 million kilowatt hours, and obviously to an unlimited amount of annual kilowatt hours that are consumed. There are a few other options for the smaller to medium enterprise companies, again in flex. I'm going to hand over to Alam now, who's going to take you through some various options that we have, and thank you for your time.
Great, thanks Andrew. So hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Alam, I'm one of the procurement managers here. So I'm going to quickly run through the other options that are available to you. For those of you that don't qualify to have your own bespoke flexible contract, you can join our existing flexible basket, which consists of several individual customers utilizing the group purchasing power. One of the key benefits of the basket is your non-energy costs, such as the standing charges and capacity charges, if you have a half-hourly meter, are fixed at the outset, and it's only the energy wholesale commodity cost that is traded and will be the variable element within your bill. By fixing the non-energy costs, which will increase year on year, automatically you've got that element of protection against those rising costs, so you're not fully exposed to the market. The basket itself, it's fully managed by our in-house expert market watch team, and they'll implement strategy and execute all trades on your behalf. You'll be provided with an initial budget forecast as well as quarterly updates, which will keep you fully informed on performance, trading strategies and future budgets. As the flexible basket is market reflective, we won't be able to provide you with a guaranteed budgetary certainty. So it is important to remember there is an element of risk involved. However, we feel in a rising market, it presents a really great opportunity. If you'd like to have absolute budgetary certainty, the next two options will be more suited to you. So the first one is the buying group. You all would have received communication from your relationship managers explaining the buying group and giving the option to opt into this in advance of your contract end date. The window to join the gas buying group is now closed. However, the electricity is still open. And we're just going to show you a quick video which just explains how it works and the advantages of being part of it. So could you just run that, please, Jen?
No worries. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly exit out of this one. This was the video that started trying to play. It's from our new campaign around sustainability. So this is now the correct one.
Great, thank you, Jen. So I hope you found that video useful. So we've had lots of interest in the buying group this year, with almost 300 customers joining. So overall, really fantastic, substantial volume, which really helped to leverage supplier costs. As mentioned, it really is a low risk and hassle-free option, as you get to set your budgetary parameters and we are authorized to sign off on your behalf. The final point is the contract itself will be for a 2-year fixed period. The final option is one most of you are currently on and most familiar with, which is a bespoke fixed contract. This follows our usual consultation period, where we'll schedule a date in the diary and provide you with formal offers on the day for your approval. Just one thing to bear in mind is prices are generally valid until 3 to 3:30 p.m. on the day. So you just need to make sure you're available to seek the relevant approval. So yeah, so those are the 3 options that are available to you. And you can also do a combination of 2. So for example, you can have your gas as part of the flexible basket and your electricity can join the buying group or a fixed contract. So the options are up to you. I think next we just have a quick poll just to kind of gauge your interests. There we go. So of the options discussed, which is your favorite approach? So either the flexible basket if you're eligible, the buying group, the bespoke fix, or a combination.
The bars are just moving all over the place while people put their votes in. I'll just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now.
Combination, oh, that's pretty interesting. So the majority are pretty much saying the buying group followed by a combination. So that's great. So after this meeting, we'll have a catch up with you and we can discuss those options and which you prefer. I think the next slide, Jen, is just the final slide from me. So it's just a quick outline of the deadlines. So for a bespoke flexible is 1 month before your contract expires, but ideally we'd like to get it done well in advance of your end date, just to give us plenty of time so we can monitor the markets and effectively trade in advance for you. The flexible basket is the end of July this year. Buying group will be the end of May. And again, the bespoke fix, again, these can be secured in advance, but again, we'd like to do them in advance and get a plan of action in place for you well before your contract end date. I think that's the last slide for me. So the next slide is over to Dan.
Thank you, Alan. So I'm Dan Roberts. I'm a dual relationship manager here at Zenergi, and I'll just take you through what a ZenSign LOA is and the features and benefits for yourself. So a ZenSign LOA, first of all, it allows us to sign a contract on your behalf, but within parameters always set by yourself. So ultimately, it takes the stress away from you, knowing that we will take care of this for you within the guidelines that you've set. So it should save you valuable time. It is tried and tested method, which we currently use with nearly 400 customers. With the current market being extremely volatile, we are having to act incredibly quickly in order to secure those rates, as mentioned earlier. So by signing the ZenSign LOA, it means that we can act instantly for you and secure those rates so that you'll never miss out on the best ones that we achieve. For all of our clients, it can offer peace of mind and a stress-free contract renewal, and in particular with schools. So if you've got renewals that are within or very close to the school holidays and you've closed down for that period, if you've got some contracts coming up for renewal around about that time, then it ensures that we have the maximum amount of time to secure these for you. Rather than when you come back, if we've got a very short period of time, then we start to close that window and start to affect those rates. And most importantly, with the ZenSign LOA, of course, we'll make sure you never run out of contract and have those higher rates. And it is very important that we do set realistic percentages on those LOAs. However, I know that with guidance and things, you're going to want that. So the relationship managers are best placed to let you know what they are. But be rest assured that we'll always aim to get the best possible rates for you within those parameters. And just one last poll for you to do. I think it's the last one. And it's quite simply, if you're interested in signing, receiving a ZenSign LOA, please tick yes. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've had a few questions come in. If it's okay, I'm going to direct them to some of the team specifically. So Al, can I ask you first, if that's all right?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so why should we go into the fixed buying group and not just do our own individually?
Okay, great. So that's a great question. So the key benefit of the buying group is the economies of scale. So by being part of that large organization and essentially group buying, we can really leverage the supplier costs. So for the suppliers, they'll be keen to secure a large volume of business on that day. So it's in their best interest to kind of reduce their margins so they can maximize their opportunities to win the business. So it's a great option to go for.
Al, thanks for that. I've had a follow-up question. Can small consumers enter into a flex agreement?
Yeah, you can do. So our existing flexible basket is eligible for all customers who don't fall into the largest consuming thresholds. So yeah, that's an option as well. So we can do that for you. It's no issues.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. I might direct another question at you shortly, but I've got one for Andy next. Can a large map go bespoke flex if over 5 gig? That's quite a specific question.
Yes, so the answer to that is yes. And in fact, when you're a large consumer within that annual quantity range, I've always believed that flex is always better for large consumers in a rising market. Again, and I'll stress that allows us to optimize on the wholesale fluctuations throughout the contract term. Contract term is important within a large organization to benefit from flex, and I would range anywhere between 3 to 4 years if possible. Not always possible to get 4-year flex deals, but 3 years is usually the right time. So it allows us time to trade throughout the contract period. And again, the benefits that can be seen when markets come down in terms of the trades and the savings that can be made can be substantial. And again, let's say in the next 24 months that markets do come down, the savings will be significant on the wholesale component. So the answer to that is yes.
Thank you. That's quite useful. I appreciate your advice on that one. I'm going to move over to Scott now, if that's okay. I've got a question for you, I believe. What's currently driving market prices and keeping them high at the moment? I'm sure that's a question on everybody's lips.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. It's a good question. The key one really is the fallout of the Russian-Ukraine conflict and geopolitical issues there. So I think Europe have made it clear they want to move away from sourcing natural gas from Russia. So it's just about how they go about it. LNG seen as one big solution to that, but it's an already fiercely competitive marketplace with Asia and other kind of emerging markets competing there. So it's just sourcing alternative supplies, and these kind of projects do take time. So Germany, for example, wants to build more LNG terminals, but that's going to take a year or two. That's why we're seeing prices still continue to remain high in the outlook forecast. So that's the big one. The second one is Europe sourcing better storage levels into next winter. So they've got a target to get to 90%. It's going to be difficult to do, but that's their target, and that's what they're aiming to do. So those two kind of combinations are the biggest things, and that's what's causing a lot of uncertainty and fear in the markets, you could say, right now.
Scott, I've had a couple of additional live ones that have come in that are sort of off the back of what you've just said. So I'm not sure if it's something that you want to answer directly to these. One of them is an anonymous question.
Okay.
So I'll kind of combine them if you don't mind. So Will you be moving us away from Gazprom for our renewals rather? And are we okay to stay with Gazprom in light of the recent guidance from the Cabinet Office on reviewing contracts with Russia? So I know you touched on that lightly, but if you wouldn't mind answering that, if you can.
Yeah, so there has been a recent update on that situation. So Gazprom GMT, so Gazprom Marketing and Trading, have been bought out by the German authorities. That happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago. They are no longer affiliated with Russia as a result, and I believe they're going to be going through a rebranding of that. I think that's a conversation you can have more in depth with your relationship managers. Of course, if you still have some concerns about that, we can look at alternative suppliers. We're absolutely happy to do so. But I think this is one that's going to keep developing. We're going to wait for updates from the German authorities and GMT themselves on that. So I'm sure there'll be further updates soon to give us guidance. But as far as we're aware, GMT, Gazprom Marketing Trading, are no longer affiliated with Russia, which obviously was our main concern. We didn't want to be putting customers associated with that anymore. So yeah, I think expect further updates on that soon.
Great, so thanks for answering that. And obviously we have our Market Watch section on the website and Market Watch Live for the most up-to-date information on the markets and movements, which Scott also does a video every week for if you're interested in that. So thank you for answering that. I know it was a difficult question. I have a question from Pam. I think this might be one for you, Al, but anyone else, please feel free to jump in if not. So in terms of timing, when is it advisable to get prices if the contracts are ending on the 30th of September 22?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think with so much uncertainty in the market and so much fluctuation we've seen since even the start of this month and last month, I think it is worth looking at your options in advance. At least that way you can kind of gauge where the markets are, and that might help dictate what your options and your plan is going forward. So I think it's definitely worth taking a look now and maybe looking at the options that we presented today and what will best suit you. But yeah, I think look at it in advance is a good idea.
Great, thanks, Al. I think this next one I'm going to direct to Dan, if that's okay. Is there anything else different with the Zen LOA we need to be aware of? How long would you recommend committing to?
So the whole idea of the Zen LOA is to give you flexibility and obviously peace of mind. So with that, there is nothing extra that you need to worry about with the Zen sign LOA. We would take care of that for you once signed. In terms of the contract length, so we would do anywhere between 1 and 3 years typically. And again, because of the nature of it being flexible and with your obviously giving you peace of mind, that is completely up to you and within your control. So whatever suits, 1, 2 or 3, we'd be happy to discuss that with you. Great, thanks for explaining that. It's something that we're quite proud of, that we tailor our energy contracts around our customers' needs. We have a tagline, energy designed around you, so that very much proves that point, so thank you. I have another question. Andrew, I think this might be one for you. The DFE are advocating schools' use of Crown commercial services. What can you offer more than the framework deals? I don't know if you want to answer that one off of the live platform. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think maybe that is one off the live platform, but for now, it's quite hard to say what more can we do. We always offer a range of bespoke services within Zenergi, and obviously with an ever-growing company like ourselves, the services that we can offer are substantial, not only just around contracting, but I think the biggest thing that everyone needs to remember is energy efficiency now and going green and becoming net zero. And those are the additional services where I think we pride ourselves as a company in being hopefully the leaders in the future. And it's something we're driving very hard internally. But I would love to come back to Claire. And in fact, Claire, I'll give you a call during the course of next week or whenever it's best for you. And we can pick up directly on that because there's a lot to be said about that.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that, and very much so reflecting what you said on the sort of eco, the net zero. We've, as by accident, the video started playing, but we have launched our own campaign, Powering a Sustainable Future, and our Zen Zero to help customers on their journey to net zero. So if anyone's interested, please pop along to our website or our YouTube channel, which explains some more bits on that. I haven't had any more live questions, but if anyone thinks of something later, you're more than welcome to contact the guys directly. There is some contact details here on this next slide. There's a telephone number there, but equally, if you have someone that you're in contact with more frequently, perhaps your relationship manager or one of the sales team, please do drop them a line. All that's left for me to say is thank you so much for the guys joining. They are experts within Zenergi, as many of them are, and a fountain of knowledge. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do the webinar today. Have a great day, everyone, and hopefully speak to you soon.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you very much,
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.